Kwan. J. Kwan. All right, let us begin. Everybody, please take your seats or stand. All right, good afternoon, students and judges. Welcome to the second match of the 2021 National Tourism Debate via Zoom. We are also streaming on YouTube. We would like to commend our team at One Love TV for digitizing our competition, and this could not be possible without the kind sponsorship of the following companies: the Tourism Enhancement Fund in the Ministry of Tourism, Camco Hotel and Restaurant Supplies, Deja All-Inclusive Resort, ProSide Optical, Tony Ward Auto, Royalton Luxury Resorts, the Jamaica Observer, and Adtelligent Limited in Kingston. The 2021 National Tourism Debate is endorsed by the Ministry of Education, the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce, the JHTA, and CGM Caligo. Our judges this afternoon: Attorney at Law Stacey Young, Chief Judge; Robin Russell, First Vice President of the JHTA; and Craig Powell, CEO of Adtelligent Limited. Please let us have a round of applause for our judges. Our moot today: social distance is the way forward, not mandatory vaccination. Proposing the moot is Charlemount High, and opposing the moot is Anchovy High. Our speakers from Charlemount High: first speaker Samaria Gordon, second speaker Nathaniel Smith, and third speaker Jaquan Price. I hope I got that right. From Anchovy, we have Malika Curtin, first speaker, second speaker Dominique McLean, third speaker Thadine Tingling. Welcome, speakers. The first speaker is allowed 7 minutes, second speaker 5 minutes, and the third speaker 3 minutes, followed by a rebuttal, which will begin with the opposing team. The match will begin with our opposing team, Charlemount High. We will now proceed with our second match in the 2021 National Tourism Debate, Charlemount High versus Anchovy High. May we have our first speaker from Charlemount High, please. Jamie, you can spotlight, and Charlemount High, you may go ahead.
Hi, Jake. Are you hearing me?
We're hearing you. We're hearing you. We're hearing you.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Quote by John Haywood. Madam Speaker, opposition, and members of the House, a pleasant afternoon. The proposing team will be arguing that social distancing is the way forward and not mandatory vaccination. According to Collins Online Dictionary, social distancing is a set of measures aimed at stopping the spread of an infectious disease based on staying away from other people as much as possible. These includes but not limited to These include but are not limited to working from home and online school. The way forward can simply be stated as a particular type of action that is approved of because it is likely to lead to success, which in this case means to take the most effective and safest route to end COVID-19. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, mandatory vaccination means a legal requirement imposed by communities to mandate particular vaccination for their citizens. We can restate the mood to read then an emphasis on the set of measures to include voluntary and non-pharmaceutical intervention aimed at stopping the spread of COVID-19. As the first speaker of the proposition, I will be introducing our arguments about the problem with making vaccines a legal requirement. Our second speaker will discuss the efficacy of social distancing the levels of social distancing, why social distancing is important, and how increased vaccination rate doesn't really work without social system. Social distancing. The third speaker will summarize our arguments and outline a scenario of what should be next that will leave you in no doubt that social distancing is the way forward. Firstly, the psychological effect of things first and people. While the development of COVID-19 vaccine has been an extraordinary success, vaccinating most of the global population has been an enormous challenge, one for which gaining and maintaining public trust in the vaccine is as effective as the vaccine themselves. Trust in the vaccination is critically dependent on the effectiveness and the safety of the vaccines. Many Jamaicans are still skeptical about taking the coronavirus vaccines, and to make it mandatory, the government will do nothing to inspire the trust necessary for a vaccination program like this to be successful. This is not the way, and it behooves us to pay much more attention. A law is only as good as your ability to enforce it. How do you propose we do so when people say no? An RGR Gleaner done on the same poll that of September 3, 2021, 50% of Jamaicans say they do not trust the vaccine. Do we lock people up who don't want to take the vaccine, prevent them from work, to support their families, stop them from going to school? Will a registry be sent to all businesses and public spaces in Jamaica, or do you propose we brand like cattle? We all want to get back to a new normal, but let's do so in the most effective way possible. Half of the world population is strongly against taking the vaccine, but the other half has no problem with it. Other Caribbean countries have grappled with the consequences of forcing vaccine
Oh my
mandates.
gosh, let's see. You want to see this bitch? Oh my gosh.
Vaccine mandates on the masses. On Sunday, August 15, 2021, in an
Okay, hold on. I think there's somebody in this conference who shouldn't be here because I heard something. If it's B Reed, I don't know who that is, but can we just delete him, please, and then give her back the time? Okay, I think he's. I think.
I was about to indicate that everyone keeps their mic mute.
Mm-hmm.
And then just a certain amount of persons are allowed to unmute. And just to remind everyone,
let me ask, I saw the name Dominique. Is that another speaker from the other side? All right.
I don't think so, but I think we should give her back her five minutes or so, just because of interruption, so she can catch her train of thought extra. But I think you're doing a very good job. I just want to encourage you. Don't, whatever that person said, don't make it bother you.
All right.
indicate as well, we do have adjudicators who are here and watching. So we will certainly be taking up anything that is picking up the slack where it needs to be picked up. In addition, I also wish to remind persons who are also participating in the debate. I'm just taking this opportunity to remind those of us who are participating in the debate that for the first minute and the last minute of a presenter's presentation, you are not allowed to interrupt at all for point of information, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was our Chief Judge, Stacey Young. I don't know, during the break, when we break from the first speaker, I don't know if the judges want to just huddle a bit for what just happened. So I'm going to ask Ms. Samara Gordon from Charlemount to pick up from your presentation. I don't know, Stacey, if you want her to begin from the beginning or if she should we allow her to begin from the beginning?
Yeah, she should be allowed 5 minutes proceeding. She can begin from half of the world population. She was making a reference to using an example of half of the world population. She can, have you found it? where you were speaking, Miss Gordon, when you were speaking about half of the world population?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so we're gonna give you 5 minutes from there.
Okay, miss. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Half of the world's population is strongly against taking the vaccine, while the other half have no problem with it. This is not just a problem only in Jamaica. Other Caribbean countries are grappling with the consequences of forcing vaccine mandates on the masses. On Sunday, August 15, 2021, in Antigua and Barbuda, protests over the government's requirement that employees be vaccinated or face for nightly COVID-19 tests ignited demonstrations and clashes between the protesters and police. Barbados too has had demonstration against a similar proposal. This means the government should act decisively in order to avoid outbursts that will result in the Jamaican citizens not trusting in them. Secondly, countries that are using vaccine mandates. To understand what a future Jamaica look like with vaccine mandates and little emphasis on social distancing, we look at a country like Indonesia for a case study. Indonesia made vaccination mandatory in February 2021, warning that anyone who refused to be vaccinated could be fined or denied social assistance or government services. To date, only with almost 30% of the population fully vaccinated, according to the BBC article dated October 29. Even though they have initiated mandatory vaccination, they are still being ravished by the novel coronavirus. Jessica Vincentia, in her article dated August 30, 2021, stated, and I quote, with the introduction of the Delta variant to Indonesia in July 2021, the country gained a new reputation as the world COVID-19 epicenter. Does that sound like the way forward to you? Vincentia cited the short-lived social distancing measures of the government as the main reason for their current COVID problems. Being vaccinated doesn't hinder one from being infected with the virus, and neither does it prevent an infected vaccinated person from spreading it, according to many medical experts. We all agree that the vaccines are a part of the solution, but making it mandatory won't cause people to trust in it. Remember, 54% of Jamaicans don't trust in the vaccine. If the public was being educated with the benefits of social distancing, we wouldn't have to worry about something of this nature. If the COVID-19 vaccine are made mandatory, is there a guaranteed time that is stated when the virus will be completely eradicated? Lastly, not everybody is eligible for the vaccine. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Children's Hospital Association in the US, children represent about 16% of all COVID-19 cases. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline McKenzie has revealed that COVID-19 has claimed the lives of 11 children, including adolescents, in Jamaica. According to Statista.com, children 0 to 14 years make up 23% of Jamaican population. This means that to get to herd immunity, almost everyone has to get vaccinated. COVID is something we will have to deal with for a very long time. We can find a new normal with the social distancing and voluntary vaccination. The psychological effect of things forced on people is usually negative, and this is a decision the government should not make for its people. A marketed and incentivized vaccination program is better, and don't forget social distance.
Thank you, Charlemount High. First speaker, Samaria Gordon. We will just give half a minute or so for Anchovy to prepare. Malika Curtin, first speaker.
Malik Curtin, yes.
Curtin, okay. All right, I think I see her there. Your video have to be on, the video has to be on.
It's Malik Curtin, miss, I'm a male.
Male, sorry, Malik Curtin, sorry. My apologies. All right, there he is. Judges, are we ready? Okay, Mr. Curtin, you may go ahead.
It is undeniable that the coronavirus disease has taken the world by surprise. Governments radically forced guidelines that, in a matter of days, shut down businesses indefinitely, and people found themselves compelled to abide by new norms. While hygiene measures remained the same as for previous pandemics, the social distancing norms were particularly disruptive and made the experience quite unique. Good afternoon, everyone. Judges, my fellow opponents, teachers, other guests. We, the opposing team, unequivocally disagree that social distancing is the way forward and not mandatory vaccinations. We also disagree with the proposing side that social distancing is not the way forward. Is the way forward, sorry. How dare you agree with this stance? Don't you have a heart, fellow opponents? Don't you have a heart? Don't you like people? Don't you like physical interactions? Are you even human? Today, as the first speaker, I will be talking to you about the negative effects social distancing has on people of our society, and that mandatory vaccination is definitely the way forward. To reduce the negative impact social distancing has on our lives. Our second speaker will detail how social distancing has significantly impacted the mental health of the people of society, and it gets worse each and every day. Our third speaker will rebut and sum up our team's case. To society, social distancing presents dangers of increasing social rejection, growing impersonality and individualism, and the loss of a sense of community. It negatively affects learning and growth, and it prevents people from effectively socializing, which is a fundamental need of our social lives. First and foremost, my fellow opponents, the measures carried a strong psychological message, which is the fear of others, along with the idea that others are potential carriers of deadly germs and life-threatening diseases. The alarming rate of the contamination and death from the virus contributed to establishing more panic and even paranoia among many. What is particularly concerning is the fact that this psychological effect could potentially remain in our communities for decades, whether this is at work, at restaurants, or even at our schools. As we navigate through life, much of what fulfills us are the bonds we create with each other. And more often than not, those bonds materialize through physical interactions. Urban Tomova and Blakemore, in a 2020 article, stated, and I quote, social interactions are proposed to be basic human need, analogous to other fundamental needs such as food consumption or sleep. Indeed, feeling insufficiently connected to others is associated with profound and lasting negative consequences on physical and mental health, even leading to increased mortality. Physical interactions are an essential part of human and social experience, and they particularly are important for social development of young people. My fellow opponents, socialization is important in the social development of young people. By closing the schools, the pandemic is preventing many children and adolescents from socializing with each other. This affects their ability to make quality connections, which impacts their social and personal growth. Indeed, youth flourishes socially through connections. While maintaining positive interactions with our communities might seem trivial, it induces a sense of trust and acceptance that we often take for granted. Exchanging a few words with barista when ordering coffee in the morning, or random conversations with a stranger at the grocery store is important. However, self-isolation, the 6 feet distance measure, and the use of protective face masks are preventing these basic interactions from happening. From the early days of the pandemic, it was already clear that individualism was one of the many ways that the crisis manifested in our communities. People rushed to buy items, but they considered critical. My fellow opponents, social distancing is not the way forward. Mandatory vaccination is the way forward. When we socialize, the emotional support that we need is not there, right? I am imploring everyone to take the vaccine, and as a result, the key tool needed to fight this dangerous virus is the coronavirus vaccine, be it the Moderna, the Pfizer, the Johnson & Johnson, or the AstraZeneca. The damaging effect of the pandemic, such as COVID-19, on the global health on the economy is indisputable. While their impacts on human social experience have received less consideration, it is essential to acknowledge and address their harmful effects on the well-being of our communities. Socializing is a fundamental human need, and social distancing hinders, which ultimately affects our mental wellness. While the physical distancing may appropriately be enforced when necessary, the social aspect of our relationships must be strengthened by sustaining our bonds and support most vulnerable among us. My fellow opponents, let me state this. While diseases such as the coronavirus spread easily by human contact, it is important to be mindful that the enemy remains the virus and not our peers. Thank you.
Thank you. First speaker, Malik Curtin from Anchovy. We will give our judges a minute to organize their points. Let's just say a special welcome to our friends joining in the chat room. We have some participants. Welcome to our second match in the 2021 National Tourism Debates. Our last participants were very quiet, and the second match, we had a little bit of discrepancy there, but hopefully we will be able to get to know you a little bit better. Judges, are you ready?
I'm ready over here.
Ready to go.
Okay, we will now take our second speaker from Charlemount High, Jaquan, or is that, sorry, Nathaniel Smith from Charlemount High. Go ahead, Charlemount High.
Check. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can.
Social distancing, along with the protocol, is the way forward and not mandatory vaccination. Madam Speaker, opposition, members of the House, good afternoon. I will be proposing the points that social distancing protocols, along with mask wearing, lockdowns, and curfews, is the way forward to flatten the curve of the virus. Social distancing by itself does not prevent you from catching COVID-19. It is fundamentally linked with other non-pharmaceutical interventions like mask mandates and sanitization procedures, and even lockdowns and curfews. Social distancing cannot be viewed without other non-pharmaceutical intervention protocols, despite what the opposition may want to suggest. Let us look at the different parts to social distancing in the form of a pyramid chart. Now at the very bottom of this chart is the protocols, like the personal ones, like mask wearing, avoid touching surfaces, not touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. In the middle are the protocols which the government installed, like guidelines for businesses and social distancing. At the top of this chart, we have extreme measures like social distancing, curfews, and lockdown stay-at-home measures. Since the start of the corona last year, Jamaica has been in many occasional lockdowns and strategies to help us with social distancing. Don't let opposition trick you into thinking that Jamaica can't and will not follow social distancing. The numbers do not lie. The rest of the world is trying their best, but we are doing better. From the start of the pandemic, from the start of the pandemic to now, November 23rd, Jamaica has a positivity rate of 3%. Say 14.5% and Jamaica 3%. France 11.3%, UK 14.5%, Jamaica 3% when compared to countries in the Caribbean like Cuba and Trinidad and Tobago, we are doing exceptionally well. Social distancing do work. It worked before and I must emphasize it is working now. We are not to argue that we are not here to argue that social distancing is perfect, but countries like Japan and South Korea has never been in lockdown since this whole pandemic started. They follow a strict and rigid protocol of mask wearing and social distancing. If you should check the statistics, Jamaica compared to other first world countries like the US and the UK, we are doing pretty well. These countries are in like their fourth or fifth wave of the virus. We are just in our third wave. Not everybody wants to be vaccinated. Not everybody can be vaccinated, but everybody can wear a mask. Everybody can wash their hands and everybody can stay at their home. The government should stay 6 feet apart, gather in 10 places, or stay at home. So if you don't believe that the opposition said that the opposition said that social distancing is causing a psychological problem on people. But there is a bigger problem in our economy right now, vaccination. Persons don't understand what is vaccination. And you believe that social distancing is more of a problem? No. There is other way to socialize than physically. We are socializing right now through the internet. So I conclude, social distancing by itself does not prevent you from catching COVID-19, but wearing a mask, following the protocols such as mask wearing, occasional lockdowns, and social distancing is the way forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Second speaker from Charlemount. Hi, Miss Nathania Smith. Anchovy, second speaker. Dominique McLean. Are you ready?
Yes, Miss, I am.
All right, let's just give the judges a minute or so, half minute.
Please, thanks. Ready?
Okay, Dominique McLean, are you there? Ready?
Yes, Miss.
Please go ahead from Anchovy High. No need to be nervous, just go ahead.
My fellow opponent, you stated that social distancing is doing quite well in our country today, but I should tell you that in taxis, for example, persons are not able to social distance as there is always cluster, lines in fast food restaurants, at parties, people do not follow social distancing protocols. Even though physical distancing does not mean social isolation, we still have to bear in mind, my fellow opponents, that internet or long distance interaction is not enough. Both children and adults, according to Hazan, feel isolated, while children are not allowed to play outside their home or meet their peers for fear of infection. This is another reason your point is invalid and mandatory vaccination is the way to go. Talking about that, family members who have lost loved ones due to the COVID-19 virus often experience intense feelings of anger and resentment and may feel shame and guilt or stigma related to family members who are infected or in quarantine. Please note that being in quarantine is also a form of social distancing, of course. My opponents, mentally, this causes family members to suffer post-traumatic stress disorder, and coping disorder. Tourism is the most important part of Jamaica's economy, according to Teltonica. Tourism is the most affected business sector by this pandemic in our country right now. This is nothing new to us, as we all have seen this take place. We see it on the news, as well as statistics showing the decrease in the tourism activity in Jamaica. Tourism activity has decreased because persons have become fearful of traveling. A source tells us that Jamaica has seen a 30% decline in tourism activity. How can we social distance when even the tourism sector depends on it? Jamaica's economy depends on tourism. Making the vaccine mandatory will, without a doubt, benefit the tourism sector and tourists, making tourism activity increase and tourists less fearful, as there will be a decrease in the spread of the virus. I must say, according to the source Brainsway, social distancing induces anxiety due to its emphasis on the health risks of socialization. Social distancing is also not the way to go, as it even causes feelings of distress that persons may experience due to the fact that socialization has been restricted. I will stick with my stance. Social distancing is not the way to go. Mandatory vaccination is. Another point made by Brainsway, my opponents, was that social distancing eventually leads to depression. I agree 100%, as many persons since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic have grown to feel overwhelmed with loneliness and lose hope that they will never stop social distancing. A study from 2004 reiterated the same sentiment, noting that removing individuals from their normal daily routine, for example, not being able to physically contact by hugging friends, shaking hands, communicating up close, etc., may lead to contemplation of
Point of information.
distressing thoughts. Thank you.
She's completed her presentation? Just checking.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, just to remind you, you can watch the chat screen for the indication of the 1 minute time where it says 1 minute to go. When it says 1 minute to go, opposers or proposers, at that point, you can no longer interrupt the other speaker for like points of information, etc. So the first minute of a presentation is protected time, and the last minute of a presentation is protected time. So your points of information can come in the middle. Just a reminder.
Okay.
We just need a minute to just do the scores for that last speaker, and then you can just go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chief Judge Stacey Young. Okay, let's get to know our students a bit. Charlemount High, this is your third year with us at the National Tourism Debate. Welcome back. Anchovy, I believe you entered the second time around, and welcome back to you all. I want to say thanks for taking the effort to make it to the 2021 National Tourism Debate Competition. I know it was very hard. We had delays for some time. We had to push back a few times, but we are here. And this is motivating to everybody else that is hoping to participate, I'm sure. We have been out of school for some time now, and to see everybody putting in the effort to be here today is really appreciative. So thank you both to the coaches. I know we spoke to the coaches several times and they were a bit concerned, but I think the students have put their best foot forward, and you both schools are looking good. And I like the fact that you're in your uniforms, you look really nice. Judges, are we ready to take the third speaker?
Yes, we are.
All right, so we will go back to Charlemount High, third speaker, Jaquan Price. Jaquan, you may go ahead. Please remember to have your video on for your presentation, and our production team, Jamie, please spotlight Jaquan.
Are you hearing me clearly? Are you hearing me clearly?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, judges, and members of the opposition. I'm here to solidify our point that social distancing is the way forward. I must state that we're not against the COVID vaccination, but we're against making the vaccine mandatory, because a mandatory vaccination can and will not hasten the process as seen in other countries. But let us continue the effort in social distance, wearing our masks, washing and sanitizing our hands. And there are great ways to encourage people to take the vaccine rather than forcing it. Let us come together and deal with this monstrosity of a virus in strategic and long-term methods. The director of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros, said that the social distancing is a must as cases of COVID continue to spike. If such an authority on the matter has shared this view, then who are we to say make vaccine mandatory? For I, for one, did not attend medical school, and I'm sure my opponents did not go to medical school. Sure, vaccines reduce severe cases, but does not stop the spread of various types of COVID. We might not be able to get rid of COVID completely, but we have put it under control in the initial stages without a vaccine. Know that the vaccine is here. Let us use it, but do not force it. The alternative to a vaccine mandate is to inform the public about the benefits of the vaccine and expand the intensive program for a vaccine. An incentive program that Jamaica will offer, an incentive program that will offer Jamaica a small fiscal stimulus that would accomplish two things. One, it would provide with some financial relief that will help jumpstart our economy again. And two, it would be a great incentive for people to freely take the vaccine without opposing. The reality is that we may be living with COVID for a long time. And as a matter of fact, the government recently declared that COVID is now endemic to Jamaica. The way forward has to be finding new normal to social distancing and volunteering insurgent vaccine program. We need to get back to school and work and find ways to live with COVID until we can finally say goodbye to it. This is the way forward. This is the future. Who can't hear must feel. Thank you.
And thank you, third speaker, Jaquan Price. A few minutes for the judges. Welcome to our participants joining us. Do we have anybody from overseas? Anybody from, do we have any supporters here from Anchovy and Charlemount? Do we have any students, friends, visitors, parents? No?
Right here.
Right here, yes, finally, welcome to you.
Yeah,
Welcome, I see Anchovy, okay. All right, we will now take our third speaker from Anchovy, Thadeen Tinglin. Thadeen, are you ready?
Yes, Miss, I am.
All right, Thadeen. Okay, the light, you can't see your face because of the light. Ah, okay, Thadeen, you know exactly how to position the light. All right. You can see now? Judges, is that okay? All right. So Thadeen, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Miss. Good afternoon, fellow judges, opponents, guests, and teachers. Allow me as your third speaker to address the issue on vaccine safety. But before I get started on that, I would like to say that I am in full support of opposing social distancing is the way forward and not mandatory vaccine because socializing is inevitable. The proposer should agree with this because even in their space, they are not social distancing. Why? Beats me. The first speaker of the proposition team stated that, and I quote, we all want to get back to normal, but let's do it in the most effective way, unquote, which I could only assume that she meant social distancing is the most effective way, which I couldn't help but disagree more. I don't mean to turn your pages, Miss Garden, but your pointer ceased to impress me. Because as was stated by my colleague, social interaction is inevitable, not only physically, but mentally as well. Let me elaborate on a student's point of view. The pandemic hit, causing all of us not to be able to go to face-to-face school. Now we have made online class our new normal. This new normal sparked many issues for millions of students worldwide. But yes, the one that is of importance right now is lack of concentration. Yes, there are students who are mentally absent from class. Why, you ask? Because the communication and the connection between both student and teacher are underdeveloped due to the little to no interaction between both parties. If my colleagues and I decide to agree with the proposer's nonsense, which we certainly will not, this would mean that future students would lack the necessary communication skills used on a daily basis. For one, active listening. According to Gift of Life Institution, and I quote, active listening builds strong relationship, and while it may not come naturally to many of us, it is an invaluable communication skill. Becoming an excellent listener will take determination and practice, and will well be worth on your professional and personal life. Another point is whether or not we have a choice. Yes, we have a choice, but persons are not choosing wisely. They're not looking at the case from both sides. An unvaccinated person is more likely to contract the virus than a vaccinated person. Now, you as an unvaccinated person, scenario-wise, contracted the virus and became severely ill and hospitalized while you are being unattended or getting insufficient treatment because the hospitals are filled with unvaccinated persons who are also infected that had a choice but chose incorrectly, and you're on the bed with high fever, shortness of breath, headache, joint pain, and coughing, and you think to yourself that maybe if I had taken the vaccine, I would not be in this position. But the time you came to this realization, it's too late. To me, the reason behind why people are unvaccinated does not add up. One such reason is that they don't know the elements of the vaccination. But let me ask you this, opponents. Are any of you pharmaceutical scientists? Do you have a degree in medical? A PhD even? That's what I thought. So how is it that you're going to complain about not knowing what the vaccine is made of and you will willingly buy and ingest over-the-counter medication? Exhibit A, pain relievers. The most commonly used pain reliever is Advil. Scenario-wise, imagine having the worst headache or bellyache, and you would do anything to get rid of it, and you ingest one too many Advils. Well, according to Healthline, some long-term effects are, and I quote, the decretion of kidney failure, increase of blood pressure, uncontrollable internal bleeding, liver failure, and allergic reaction. Now let's compare that to the side effects of vaccine, stated by www.cdc.gov. And I quote, side effects of vaccine include fever, headache, fatigue, and pain. At the injection site were the most commonly reported side effects, and overall, most side effects were mild to moderate. However, as with two-dose or single-dose, primary serious side effects are rare, unquote. So let me ask you this. Is it that you would rather uncontrollable internal bleeding, liver failure, kidney failure, or would you rather get vaccinated and be affected less by the symptoms of COVID? I think I'll choose option 2. And with that, I rest my case and stand by my decision. Mandatory vaccine is the way forward and not social distancing. I thank you.
Thank you, third speaker, Anchovy, Dean Tingling. We will give the judges some time, and then we will take the rebuttal from the opposing team, Anchovy High. Just a reminder that you can watch the match on YouTube. We are streaming live on YouTube, and you can visit the National Tourism Debate YouTube channel and watch the matches. Share it with your friends and family, pairs. Judges, we're still waiting on our judges. Let's get to know our speakers a bit. So, Dean, are you hearing me? What are you studying at school?
Yes, Miss. I am doing POB, OA, Math, English, of course, HSB, and also Cosmo.
So you are going to be a business cosmetologist that is very good at accounts.
I want to be an entrepreneur, yes. So I really do love these subjects. Yes. So I think I should be studying them.
Okay. Charlemount High, is there anybody that would like to tell us what they would be studying, what they're studying, and what their future plans are? I see some Charlemount speakers, bright speakers. Do we have lawyers over there in Charlemount?
Hi.
Hi,
Lawyer
guys.
here. Hi.
Hi. So what are we studying at school, and what would you like to be?
I would like to be a lawyer, and I'm studying law, history, and literature.
Okay, and your other two speakers?
Future entrepreneur and musician.
Okay, very good. Okay, so it's a record label or a producer?
Yes,
All
miss.
right, okay. And my speaker to the right?
No, Ashley.
Oh yeah, check everybody else.
Can have a second? No, can't? Sorry about that. I think our judges are ready. Let me just find out. Judges, are you ready for the rebuttals?
No, Michelle. We were trying to actually contact you by phone. Just answer, please.
Judges, are you ready?
Michelle, we're trying to call you, and Craig, can you?
Oh, yes. Yes, Rob. You know, I was. I don't know.
Okay. Jamie, can you put on that video for us? We're just gonna step out for a minute. Just, yeah.
Feel the pulse, feel the vibe, feel it in your heart. Sunshine smiling warm up inside your heart. Feeling of pure love, oh Jamaican heartbeat. Dancing to the beat up inside your heart. Heartbeat of the world, oh Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat. Love it. Heartbeat of the world. Beyond compare. Nothing like it anywhere. Share, eat and drink. We move and dance with you. No matter where you are. No matter where you're from. Join in the party. You're welcome. You're welcome. So Mr. Greetings, welcome to one and all, to the land of scat, reggae and dancehall. There we go beach, river and waterfall, and we have a lot of party when the night fall. Hold a vibe, eat something with a drink in your hand. Rum beer, jerk chicken, roast fish, yellow yam. Them say we beat unique, so every boy, every girl come to Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world. Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat. Heartbeat of the world. Feel the pulse, feel the vibe, feel it in your heart. Sunshine smiling warm up inside your heart. Feeling of pure love, oh Jamaican heartbeat. Dancing to the beat up inside your heart. Heartbeat of the world, oh Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat. Love it. Heartbeat of the world. Beyond compare. Nothing like it anywhere. Share, eat and drink. We move and dance with you. No matter where you are. No matter where you're from. Join in the party. You're welcome. You're welcome. So Mr. Greetings, welcome to one and all, to the land of scat, reggae and dancehall. There we go beach, river and waterfall, and we have a lot of party when the night fall. Hold a vibe, eat something with a drink in your hand. Rum beer, jerk chicken, roast fish, yellow yam. Them say we beat unique, so every boy, every girl come to Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world. Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat. Heartbeat of the world.
Okay, Jamie, we can perhaps this will be the last one, right? Judges, are you ready to take?
Yes, we're ready for the rebuttals.
Look what I'm. Can we ensure everybody is muted except the speakers and utilize the chat room? We are going to begin with the opposing team, Anchovy High, with rebuttals. We're in the rebuttals section. Anchovy High.
Yes, Miss, I'm hearing you.
Okay.
My fellow proposers, you are preaching and pressing on words that you do not believe in.
Sorry to interrupt you, I think we're sorry to interrupt you, but we can't see you. We're having a difficulty again.
You're back in the darkness.
You're in the dark again, so we're gonna reset the time for you. We just want to be able to
Are
see
you
your.
seeing me now, Miss?
No.
Little more.
Yes, that's a little.
What you do?
I don't know what you did a while ago, but when you went back, we could, yeah, when you're leaning back, we can see you. So I don't know if you want to adjust the camera a little to bring it forward. Yes, that's okay now. That is okay. Timekeeper, you can reset your time.
Please go ahead, third speaker. Sorry, rebuttals.
Okay, thank you. My fellow proposers, you are preaching and pressing on words that you do not believe in. I'll ask once more, how is it that you are going to say that social distancing is the way forward when you yourselves are not socializing? I would like for you to explain this matter, but you cannot. So I'll leave you with this. I will not listen to something that someone is preaching but is not taking into action, if I should say. I thank you.
Charlemount High, rebuttals. Please go ahead.
Are you hearing me clearly?
I am hearing you. I'm hearing you quite clear, quite clear.
Great. Good afternoon again. First and foremost, I would just love to point out that the Minister of Tourism, Edna Barnett, has created a tourism resilient. This is to provide tourism and hotels with a phase of reopening to our economy with proper sanitization and social distancing. We can socialize, we can be socially distancing and still socialize. We can be 6 feet apart and still communicate. You can be all the way in England and I can be right here communicating with you via Zoom. So we can socialize. There are ways to socialize, and socializing has been working. The numbers do not lie. It has been proving that it is working. And when you force us to take the vaccine for some people, for their beliefs and such things, they are going to rebel, they're going to fight against it. And look at this, only 3% of our population, Jamaica, has COVID, while America, the first world countries has 47.9 has it. So we can still socialize. while socially distant. I can still speak to you and communicate to you while wearing a mask. If COVID is spread by human contact, why then should we not push social distancing? If COVID is spread by that way, why would you suggest that we gather together? That is literally sending somebody out in war to die. The fact of the matter is that social distancing is the way. Social distancing is the way. Physical communication and physical contact are not the problem. The problem is the virus and getting rid of it completely. We can live in a world living with COVID, maintaining it and controlling it. Amen. Vaccinated person avoid protocols such as socially distancing and wearing masks and stuff like that. So if we can still spread the virus while vaccinated, we can still spread the virus while vaccinated. So let us continue to keep these things. We're not saying, oh, we're not saying we're against the vaccination. We're with it, but we're against making it mandatory and forcing it onto the people because they will rebel, as we've seen in other countries. We can still socialize while socially distancing. I thank you.
Thank you, third speaker, Charlemount. Hi, Jaquan Price. We will now give our judges some time. This was not an easy move. I can understand the complexity around the moves, but you guys did well. Okay, let's get in our chat room.
So I'm going to do.
Who am I seeing over there? Anybody in our chat room wants to say hello? We have quite a bit of persons here in our chat room. We have coaches. Anybody visiting from overseas? No? Hello to everyone. Hi, Sam MT3433. Are you from overseas or are you a parent or a teacher? Coach, friend? I guess we can unmute the person, or is the person muted? Jamie? Well, welcome to all our friends visiting from overseas. It's good to have you. I believe that we're all muted. So let me just, good afternoon, Laverne Stewart. Good afternoon to you. Are you teacher, coach, parent? Let us know. Send us a message in the chat. Principal of Anchovy. Oh, wonderful. Hi, Laverne. Welcome. Let me use the opportunity to thank our sponsors, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, Camco, Hotel and Restaurant Supplies, Deja All-Inclusive Resort, ProSight Optical, Tony Ward Auto, Royalton Luxury Resorts, the Jamaica Observer, and Adtelligent Limited out of Kingston. A reminder that the winners of the 2021 National Tourism Debate will move forward to the regional competition where they will participate among 3 other Caribbean countries. So good luck to everyone. We are out and strong. And March 2022, you'll be wearing your official National Tourism Debate jersey. Can't hear Samsung SM. Who is Samsung SM? Would you like to rename your phone, or is that a tablet? All right. We would also like to thank our production team. We have Rashid Dona and Jamie Drummond with us today. Our coaches from Charlemount High and Anchovy High, and we have a principal as well from Anchovy High. Is there anybody else that would like to say hello? Is there anybody from Charlemount? Hunter, good day to you too, Vanessa. Good to have you. Go Team Charlemount. So Charlemount have their supporters. Charlemount, you have supporters here for your match, and Anchovy, you too. You also have supporters. You have your principal here. Okay, we have some Anchovy supporters here today. Thank you, Mark Ware from Charlemount. We also had a previous hello from Anchovy, and it's good to see that you have school support during the match. We have gifts and prizes, and that you stay with us throughout the competition because we do giveaways. We do have sectional prizes. Don't go away. Don't get lost. Don't delete us. Keep following and watching, especially if you plan to return for the competition next year. All right, we have quite a number of supporters, school supporters today. Miss Wilson, you're a teacher at Charlemount High. Charlemount, you also have another teacher here supporting you. And it's good to have everybody here today. I have to say that the matches they were all incredibly strong. And I can tell that the judges will have a lot to say.
Let me write one more Barbados paragraph. This thing I come tell me, so I'm gonna write nothing.
So we want to mute the mics again. Jamie.
The blood of Jesus is against me.
Jamaican heartbeat, dancing to the beat, up inside your heart, heartbeat of the world. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat, Jamaican heartbeat, Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat, love it. Heartbeat of the world, beyond compare, nothing like it anywhere. Share, eat and drink. We move and dance with you, no matter where you are, no matter where you're from. Join in the party. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So me say greetings, welcome to one and all, to the land of scat, reggae and dancehall. There we go beach, river and waterfall, and we have a lot of party when the night fall. Hold a vibe, eat something with a drink in your hand, rum beer, jerk chicken, roast fish, yellow yam. Them say we beat unique, so every boy, every girl come to Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world.
Jamaican heartbeat, Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat, heartbeat of the world.
Feel the pulse, feel the vibe, feel it in your heart.
Sunshine smiling warm up inside your heart, feeling of pure love. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat, dancing to the beat, up inside your heart, heartbeat of the world. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat, Jamaican heartbeat, Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat,
Love it.
heartbeat of the world. Beyond
The last one is
share, eat and drink. We move and dance with you, no matter where you are, no matter where you're from. Join in the party. You're welcome. You're welcome.
So me say greetings, welcome to one and all, to the land of scat, reggae and dancehall. There we go beach, river and waterfall, and we have a lot of party when the night fall. Hold a vibe, eat something with a drink in your hand, rum beer, jerk chicken, roast fish, yellow yam. Them say we beat unique, so every boy, every girl come to Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world.
Jamaican heartbeat, Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat, heartbeat of the world.
Feel the pulse, feel the vibe, feel it in your heart.
Sunshine smiling warm up inside your heart, feeling of pure love. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat, dancing to the beat, up inside your heart, heartbeat of the world. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat, Jamaican heartbeat, Jamaica. Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat,
Love it.
heartbeat of the world, beyond compare, nothing like it
land of scat, reggae and dancehall. Day we go beach, river and waterfall, and we have a lot of party when the night fall. Whole a vibe, eat something with a drink in your hand. Rum beer, jerk chicken, roast fish, yellow yam. Them say we beat unique, so every boy, every girl come to Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world.
Jamaican heartbeat.
Jamaica.
Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat. Heartbeat of the world.
Feel the pulse, feel the vibe, feel it in your heart.
Sunshine smiling warm up inside your heart. Feeling of pure love. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat. Dancing to the beat up inside your heart. Heartbeat of the world. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaican heartbeat.
Jamaica.
Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat.
Love it.
Heartbeat of the world. Beyond compare. Nothing like it anywhere. Share, eat and drink. We move and dance with you. No matter where you are. No matter where you're from. Join in the party. You're welcome.
Yeah, laugh,
You're
smile.
welcome.
So me say greetings, welcome to one and all, to the land of scat, reggae and dancehall. Day we go beach, river and waterfall, and we have a lot of party when the night fall. Whole a vibe, eat something with a drink in your hand. Rum beer, jerk chicken, roast fish, yellow yam. Them say we beat unique, so every boy, every girl come to Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world.
Jamaican heartbeat.
Jamaica.
Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat. Heartbeat of the world.
Feel the pulse, feel the vibe, feel it in your heart.
Sunshine smiling warm up inside your heart. Feeling of pure love. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat. Dancing to the beat up inside your heart. Heartbeat of the world. Oh, Jamaican heartbeat. Jamaican heartbeat.
Jamaica.
Can you feel it? Jamaican heartbeat.
Love it.
Heartbeat of the world. Beyond compare. Nothing like it anywhere. Share, eat and drink. We move and dance with you. No matter where you are. No matter where you're from. Join in the party. You're welcome.
So me say Greetings, welcome to one and all to the land of scat, reggae and dancehall. There we go beach, river and waterfall, and we have a lot of party when the night fall. Hold a vibe, eat something with a drink in your hand, rum beer, jerk chicken, roast fish, yellow yam. Them say we beat unique, so every boy, every girl come to Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world.
Yes, I'm getting Jamie to stop it now. Jamie, good afternoon. We are ready. We are ready. Thank you. Welcome back. Our judges are now ready.
Yes, no.
I would like to thank our judges for their hard work today. It has been two very amazing matches, and welcome to one of our judges, Craig Poe from Intelligent Kingston. Over to you, Stacey Young.
Wow, what a riveting debate this was this afternoon. I'm telling you, we are overloaded with information. I was just telling my friend and colleague, Mr. Russell, that we were taking, when I looked at my note paper and his, we have like tons and tons of information. So thank you guys so much for the presentations. We found that we were, on tenterhooks at some point, waiting to see what's going to come next, because 1 minute you say, oh, this was good and that person was good, and then somebody else come and say something and say, oh, but that person is good too, so what is going to happen? It was a very closely contested match to a great extent. But overall, the effort was extremely good for both sides. I just want you guys to congratulate yourselves. Take a minute to just, give yourselves a round of applause. And we really have to even us as judges and organizers, we are finding it difficult in these times to coordinate the competition. So we can't imagine how much challenges you guys have had as students dealing with the limitations of the current dynamic that we have to deal with this pandemic. So kudos to you guys. Very, very good speakers. What we found in terms of the general comments that can be made by the judges is that all the speakers we found had very good tones and very good voices. But we found there was one particular speaker, of course, that would have stood out for us, and that person would have been voted as the best speaker for the competition. But before we announce the consensus of who the best speaker was, I'm just gonna give very general comments to our speakers as I normally do. We are pressed for time, so the comments will not be as detailed as they normally are, because the next match is set up to commence very shortly. So I'm just going to go through very, very, very briefly. If you wish to get more detailed comments and suggestions, because we have the notes, we can be contacted afterwards for more detailed comments. First speaker for Charlemount High, very good definitions, summarizing presentations, in terms of speaking about what the law is only as good as your ability to enforce it. So very good points. She spoke about regulations, and despite the fact that there was an interruption at the onset, she was able to, I believe, very, 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 very eloquently come back, regain and just flow. So very good work. We saw some use of evidence and statistics. So you know that evidence in parliamentary debates are critical to good arguments. So we did find a lot of examples throughout. Our second speaker for Charlemount, she, that person, not everyone can be vaccinated, expanded on what social distance is, addressed the arguments of the first speaker for the other side. So I don't know if you were listening to my comments that I made when after the first match was over with Mannings and Woolmers, where I was saying to them, you don't necessarily have to wait for the end of the debate to address arguments made by the first speaker, any speaker that went on. So the second speaker immediately addressed arguments that the first speaker of the opposing team said. So that was good as well. Charlemount, your third speaker, very good introduction. It was good. They cited that they're not against a vaccine totally, but what they're saying is that it's the mandatory aspect of that they have an issue, which we found to be very good. Spoke about, we found the tones good. The only suggestion I would make is that you have to be very careful about using evidence and information is good, but you use quotes and you use authorities. You need to be able to cite the authorities very well. So your sources and the credibility, that was a little bit, that's one of the rocky areas for that speaker. For our opposers, Anchovy High, your first speaker, good voice, good tone, good summary of what these other speakers are going to come to say. Definitions we found a little bit lacking, but they were very good about the benefits of physical interactions as opposed to the mandatory vaccine being the way forward, good gesture. And he spoke, the thing that we wanted from you, I believe the consensus among the judges was that we really wanted, and this is from the entire team as well, we really wanted you to speak about the benefits of a vaccine in a way that we would like to, everybody knows that we've had a history of being vaccinated. You have to give your immunization cards to go to school. So we really would have wanted to see more medical information and data about the benefits of a vaccine. We really wanted a little more information. What about the success of vaccines and stuff like that? Your second speaker immediately addressed some of the things said by the first speaker as well. So we found that to be good. Is quarantine the same as social distancing? That is something that wasn't very clear, but use of statistics was good. Third speaker, very pleasant. Repeated the mood, good style. Be careful, because when you say something is inevitable, it doesn't mean that it cannot be done in a safe way. So when you say that certain things are inevitable, because it is inevitable, is it that you can't change it or you can't make suggestions to make it better? Be careful about that. Very good tone though, you were very easy to follow. But what we were disappointed in as judges though, is the rebuttals. We found that the rebuttals, and this is the consensus between the judges, we wanted a little bit more from our rebuttals. Anchovy, you were short and well delivered, but we wanted you to really address the issue. So you didn't take us through, you didn't use up your time. You had a lot of time, you had like 3 minutes, but you didn't use your 3 minutes well. So that is something that kind of left us hanging in limbo. And sometimes what you need to understand is that there are marks. Sometimes the competition can be very close, and it is the rebuttal now that will be the deciding factor as to which team wins and which team loses. So you might find if you don't make a good rebuttal and you don't get those extra points, it can mean the difference between you winning the competition and losing. So in terms of where we ended up, at the end of the day, we can say this competition was really very close, to the extent where you had one judge going one particular way and then two judges going a particular way. So the winner of today's second preliminary mode competition, mode social distancing is the way forward, not mandatory vaccination. The winners would be Charlemount High, who were the proposers of this note, and they would have won 853 to 816. So that was where the scoring came down. And the speaker, we found that the best speaker was Samaria Gordon of Charlemount High. So she would have been the best speaker for this particular competition. So guys, remember those rebuttal points, very, very important moving forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, judges. Thank you. Let's have a thumbs up for everyone that participated in match 2. Good job. And congratulations to Charlemount High. What a fantastic debate. We would like to thank our participating audience and all the supporters that made it possible. Our production team, Jamie Drummond, Rashid Dona, and Daniel Dehaney, for today's presentation. A special thanks to our Chief Judge, Attorney at Law Stacey Young, First Vice President Robin Russell in the JHTA, and CEO for Intelligent, Craig Powell. I am your host, Michelle Tullo. We will move on to match 3. Thank you all for being with us.